It's really got to be drilled. When we talk about a low single leg,
All right, we're going to start with this clip because it demonstrates a couple things and is kind of the base position that Ono is attacking from with his left-hand collar tie. So here we see him get left-hand collar tie. And the reason I chose this clip to start with was because this backside is going to be free. There's going to be no control. Opponent's got no control. Their hands are just in space for the most part. So as we see, there's no contact with their hands before he snaps. All right, so this illustrates a couple points. You want to make sure this guy's hands are off when you snap or before you snap, all right, or as you snap. So here we see opponent's got a thumb block. Now this is actually, I think, important. I don't think I've seen a single clip where Ono does this snap that the opponent is already straight arm thumb blocked. There's no full extension in their arm pushing him away. There's always a bend in their elbow, and this hand is almost always relaxed from the opponent. This allows it to fall off when Ono changes speeds, from what I can tell. So here we see him take his step back. So again, important. His feet move out of the way as he starts to snap. And then we see there's starting to be a little bit of space right there from when Ono starts his lean to snap. So as he leans, this hand will fall off. And we can see the shoulder lean because now we can clearly see his name on the back of his singlet, right? So it's not a straight down snap. He's definitely leaning almost shoulders stacked to snap. His head goes outside his arm. Listen, this may or may not help knock this guy's hand off, but what I actually think is the more important part is that the guy's hand is relaxed and the speed change of the snap. I think the head knocking this off is bonus. I don't think it actually does a whole lot to this hand. I think the speed change and the fact that it's relaxed and not straight is what gets the hand to fall. And so we see the opponent's hands both are now off of Ono, and he's way leaned out in front of his feet. Perfect snap, right? So he snaps. Ono continues with his footwork. What we see here, so he does his initial hop backwards. And then we'll see the opposite foot of the side he's going to attack go back just a little bit or move this direction, right, toward the thing he's going to attack. So that foot plants. This is his drive foot, or what I believe the Japanese call their kick foot, what they push off of to get to the attack. And we can see it covers a lot of ground, and he's aiming for the opponent's heel for his attack. Goes two hands to it. Always does a really good job of getting to his feet or getting above the knee and behind the guy. So here he gets to his feet. This ends up in a step out, but it scores him points, right? It scores him points. So step out or not, he is getting points. So again, let's take a look. He snaps, and then a lot of times you'll see his opposite hand will do a couple things. This hand right here on the backside, a lot of times it'll anchor in the armpit, which is likely what it's doing right here. It's hard to see. And then he'll release it right away because he doesn't want the guy's head to come under his armpit. Not a good spot. But he'll release so he can get both hands to the leg to attack. All right. So let's review a couple of key points real quick before we move on to some other clips. All right. So opponent's hand is relaxed. The arm is bent. There's no stiff thumb block here. when he snaps, he is going to kind of stack his shoulders and lean that direction and commit everything to the mat, right? And with that, both of the opponent's hands end up being off of him. The far side started off, and this side gets knocked off on the snap. Feet go backwards on the initial snap, and then far foot will move toward the angle to jump to that side. Tacks low, finds a corner, and gets to his feet right away. All right, pretty standard. Let's take a look at some other ones. I'm going to do my best to go to kind of simple from complex, or simple to complex in some of these positions. This is another one. So all these are going to be left-hand collar tie from Ono. One thing to notice before he even gets to a position to snap is he's never ear to ear to snap. Here you're just going to jam yourself up. Whenever you try to snap, the opponent will end up hitting their head on your shoulder every time. You have to have a little bit of space. So what we're going to see him do is create a little bit of head space. There we go. He's back forehead to forehead. And unlike the previous clip, the opponent has got elbow control and a collar tie, right? So he's not over top with a thumb block, and this hand's not in space yet. So he has to make sure that this hand gets in space and that this hand can fall off, which being on elbow control, it's not a big deal. It's going to drop down whenever Ono decides to drop to snap. All right, so elbow control, not a problem for a snap. This hand has to be taken care of. So as he goes through, we see that same ear drop snap. We can start to see the name on the singlet. So he's turning, snaps all the way down. Now, let's see if we can look at how this backside hand gets cleared off. Okay, so if you look close, you're going to see Ono's hand come right through here on that backside. That's his elbow bending. And he's just going to reach up and grab, I assume, grab the wrist and then just pull it off his head and down as he starts to snap. That clears that hand. And again, elbow control, not a problem on his snap. He's not going to push him away because the hand gets off the elbow as he snaps. Look at his feet. This one's already back, so this one's going to move backwards as he snaps. And then again, this one will end up being his kick foot because he's going to chase his typical angle to that ankle first. Here, the opponent kind of falls over, and he ends up going backside go behind. Actually, kind of an insane go behind, really. He is in front of him, and we see him block this armpit right away, and this other hand's already reaching all the way around and over. And so when he continues, he just swings himself around. I don't even know if his feet hit the ground there. That was nuts. One more time for me. So let's take a look. Okay, feet on the ground, one hop. Okay, I think this is the last foot that hits the ground before he gets all the way behind. In the air, in the air, in the air, in the air, in the air. Still in the air. Okay, foot hits the ground right here, maybe for a little bit more push, and then back in the air to behind. Lots of time in the air. Still impressive. One more thing to look at here is the head redirect when he snaps. So here we see snap, and again, a lot of times his backside hand will anchor on the opponent's armpit on the far side. Here he's going to take it to his, well, it looks like it reached over, but then he's going to shift it to the opponent's neck pit. Keep that weight shifted across. So that's another option he does with his hand right in the opponent's neck pit. And then he looks to score however he can. Very, very similar snap is the last one. This time he head redirects and then gets to the guy's ankle. So, and then works through his finish. So we're going to see a lot of similar things. Collar tie. You know, just for detail's sake, watch the direction of his collar tie. Like his elbow comes out a little bit here. Not a huge fan, but as soon as he collar ties, his elbow is going to be immediately pointed back down. He doesn't leave that elbow out. So, you know, just a small thing to consider when you're reaching for collar ties. Elbow in, keep your elbow pointed down. Okay, here we see, well, the opponent's going to go for elbow control, then underhook. He's going to clear the hook. Gets his elbow back inside. Okay, now immediately goes into a snap, but let's see. His opponent is over-tied, which is a non-issue for a snap. It's not going to be pushing him away. Even if this hand is pulling down, not a problem because that's where he wants to go for his snap. So over-tie, not an issue when he's inside left collar for his snap. On the backside, we got to see a little bit more of some backside hand control. So opponent's hand is kind of up here on his head, and we can see this elbow's bent, which means he's probably grabbing this guy's wrist over here. And then immediately when he clears that underhook, feet hop, and his head drops down here, his head might hit this arm and knock it off just a little bit more, right? But again, all the same things apply. This hand gets to the mat, and then eventually this hand gets to the mat as well. Foot steps, hops to the angle. Far side hand is going to come over in the neck pit again, or on the head or wherever on that side, pushes the guy away, at the same time attacking the ankle. Two hands to it, then to his feet. Really good place to be in freestyle with a leg on your feet. Really good place to be in folk style. Maybe not Greco so much. It's pretty illegal. But freestyle and folk style with the leg on your feet is good. And then ends up scoring. This clip fits pretty well with the last clip in the fact that he kind of clears an underhook and then snaps right away. So maybe that's something to look for if you're trying to add this. So we're going to see left hand collar again. And then the opponent looks to try an underhook. Really good job. Elbow blocking, getting his elbow inside of the opponent's underhook elbow. And then immediately after that's defended and the opponent decides to bring his hand out, he's going to look to snap. All right. And again, when the opponent's hand comes over top on this thumb block, it's not stiff, it's not straight. The arm's bent. And then watch the space that occurs underneath this guy's hand when he snaps. So feet jump, he snaps. We can see the space already happening from shoulder to opponent's hand. All right, so I mean this tells me that this hand is relaxed. Wow, what a circle. That this hand is relaxed and that Ono's speed change is massive. So kind of stagnant. Then when he speed changes, it is quick enough to create space between the shoulder and the opponent's hand. And he snaps and looks for an angle. Let's see what happens on the backside. So opponent's got opposite collar tie on that far side. And again, we can see on this backside where Ono's elbow's bent, likely grabbing the wrist. We're going to see this hand clear off his head, I think, right before he snaps. A little hard to tell, but this looks like it might be Ono's arm, but it also might be his hand. In either case, the opponent's hand gets to the mat and then pushes off this opposite foot to this angle. And we can see where the hand was in the armpit right before he starts bringing it back in front. 2 hands to the foot, and then looks to get it high or get above his knee right away, or both. So we see hand at ankle, hand above knee, and then he is able to finish. This clip's a little bit longer because the finish takes a while, but here we're going to see his snap and then head redirect, get to the leg, and then kind of work through his finish options, which he does a really good job at. And then eventually gets his finish. All right, so we'll rewind it, take a look at how he's getting the collar. Yeah, just standard reaching for collar, forehead to forehead. Let's see. Okay, again, arms bent, opponent's thumb blocked, but it's not stiff. It is. So I guess let's talk about why. Okay, so if it's stiff already, anytime you try and snap, you're just gonna get pushed away. And anytime you try and shoot on a stiff thumb block, you're gonna push the opponent backwards. But with a bent arm thumb block, when you snap, it goes down because it's not as stiff, it's relaxed, so it's gonna fall. And if you shoot into a bent arm thumb block, you're gonna push the guy away. Still, so straight or bent arm, you'll push the guy away when you shoot. And if it's straight arm and you try and snap, at least their head, you're gonna get pushed away. There's just gonna be too much space. So bent arm and relaxed, you can't shoot into, so Ono is gonna snap. All right, and again, what we're gonna see is when he starts this snap, again, you see the body twist. We can start to see the name on a singlet, and look at this space that's starting to happen between Ono's shoulder and the opponent's hand, right? I mean, that, again, that's an indication to me that this guy is relaxed through his arm, and Ono is speed changing super fast through his snap. We see all kinds of space right here. Take a look at his backside hand, see if we can see anything. Looks like he's probably got wrist control. Hard to tell. We will see some clips of the backside. Just for now, we're focused on this front side. Snaps. As soon as this foot steps back and hits, immediately looking for that angle. He was in the armpit. So right here, he's in the armpit on the backside. And then we see him release this and transition to head redirect or neck pit push or whatever you want to call it. But we see that hand make contact on this near side. Pushes the opponent's head away. This makes it a little easier to get this foot light and attacked. So one hand goes to it, head in good position, not letting his head drop, using this post hand. Then immediately goes 2 hands to the leg. And look, I think we're going to see him get above the knee right away. And we do. Hand above the knee. Head is strong on this position. And he's able to get to his feet. So we'll work through this finish a little bit. Has it in his armpit. Having a hard time looking for any kind of trip finish, I suppose. Then he drops 2 hands back low, which is an interesting choice, and takes his head outside, or maybe the opponent put it outside. We'll see. He pretty much puts it there himself. And then this shoulder, I believe, will make contact with the opponent's leg here. And when it does, Ono's going to circle in front and try and dump the guy to his butt. All right, so he's got shoulder pressure down, straightening this leg. His hands are pulling, his shoulder is pushing, and he is circling this way, and the opponent is falling this way. All right, this is these kind of arrows are actually kind of a common thing that show up in some positions where it's opposite forces on 2 different parts. All right, so push with the shoulder, pull with the hands, puts weight down this way, and then circling in front makes the opponent move toward this missing post so he can fall this way. So lots of things working together here. The guy hits his butt. Again, this guy's no slouch. But look, when Ono comes back to his feet, he realizes he's not going to be able to finish on this dump. Guy kind of splits. As he comes back up, he starts working his hands above the knees again right away. So there we see hand gets above the knee. And now he's going to go opposite hand to the head, which is okay when it's high like this, I think. And again, we're going to see some opposite directions here. He's going to be moving this way and pushing that way for his finish. Gets behind him. Just a really well executed finish sequence. This one's pretty clean, pretty simple. Same kind of stuff, snaps, attacks, and then dumps him right to his butt. All right, so again, left collar tie inside. We're going to see the opponent reach up and collar tie the opposite side. Ono's hand follows it up to catch the wrist. So we see this hand moving up to catch the wrist. And then before he snaps, a little bit of headspace, gets back forward to forehead. And again, look, bent arm, probably relaxed. Pressure, snap, head lays over, and clears the collar tie on the backside at the same time. Foot hits, jumps to angle. Attacking heel or sock, two hands to the leg. As he comes up, immediately moving in front, hands pulling, shoulder pushing. Sits the guy right down right away, and then works up for his finish. I mean, pretty clean. Not much to say about that one. Pretty nice. Here we're going to take a look at on the backside when he snaps. So opposite hand, get a clearer picture of what's going on there. So first thing we're going to notice is that, and this is something that the Japanese do well, they don't let anybody get any kind of control that they don't want them to have, right? So we see the opponent reach for Ono's head. He catches it right away. Thumb inside, catches right at the wrist, and then just rolls it down. All right. And now he's like, okay, got my collar tie. I have wrist control on the opposite side. You're now allowed to collar tie me if you want. Still with wrist control. All right, a little bit of pressure. We see his feet start to move like he's going to snap. Head lays over, and he's immediately clearing this off his head. All right, so look, right before, so hand is on Ono's neck. We're going to see it move up his head as he starts to snap. So now we see him starting to push this hand up. It gets on top of his head, and then he's going to roll it right down between their bodies and just release it. When he releases, there we see the backside anchor kind of on the armpit. And then he releases the backside anchor, looks for that ankle on the snap side, two hands to it. I really like this shoulder right below the knee and hands at heel. And we saw before that kind of high crotch dump position. This can really straighten a guy's leg out if he pulls with his hands and pushes with his shoulder. There we see the leg go straight. Here he rotates his head inside, gets a hand above, or gets it high, and then climbs up the leg, hand above knee, to work up for his finishes. Catches hip, and he eventually breaks him down out of quad pod. So, again, on that backside, he is looking to catch and or clear hands before or as he snaps. right there. Here's another look at the opposite side of his snap. Here, I mean, they all look pretty similar, but similar things to notice. Left-hand collar, opponent goes to collar or thumb block on this backside. We see Ono miss his hand on his catch. It's fine. He just moves his hand back and then gets to the guy's as close to his wrist as possible, I would imagine. And then here we see ear to ear, so we're likely to see some space created to get back forehead to forehead. There it is. His feet start that hop motion, hand on wrist, collar, and he is rolling that thing down. Yep. So this hand rolls down between to clear that backside. And then we see this hand so it's likely relaxed thumb block on this backside. But as he snaps, we see the fingers go stiff, almost like he's trying to post off his shoulder to push him backwards, but ends up missing. And then Ono attacks his typical low at the sock or heel. Two hands to the ankle, shoulder in contact, head in contact. Here he's like head outside, low high crotch position. Gets his foot off the mat. Rotates his head inside, switches hands. And then again, looks to get to his feet. Really good position. And is able to work for his finish.